So hey everyone, so today I wanted to do a lightning fast stream. So instead of going over like my process in depth, I just want to show you how to do something very simple in Unity, go over like a minimal example, and hopefully you can adapt this to any sort of game that you want to make or any sort of UI you want to make. The reason I'm doing this is because I believe a lot of people end up making UIs in software like React. However, I generally feel that Unity gives me a much nicer and easier to use user experience, and I just want to show you how the basics works, and it'll be very familiar to you if you've done any sort of web development or React development. And if you haven't done any software development, you should still be able to understand this just fine. So let's look at like what's going on. So we're going to have this background right here. And then we're going to have a button called Enter the Vibe Zone, which starts the game. We're going to have an options menu, and then we're going to have a quit, and then we're going to have a slider for the vibe level, and then the score. The finished game will end up looking something like this. So you'll see here there's like a particle simulator. I'll go over how this works in a second. You can increase and decrease the vibe level. You can quit. This doesn't work in the Unity UI, but it would work if you turn this game to an executable. And then when you click Enter the Vibe Zone, you go to a separate scene where there's like meme-ish video being played. So how does this work? So first off, like the main scene that we want to be taking a look at is the menu scene. And so you'll notice here in the menu scene we have a camera, so that's being pointed at the canvas. We have a light, it's not doing anything useful. We have and then we have a canvas right here. So the canvas is basically anything that's a property of the UI will belong to the canvas object. The canvas has a background, so like the color here of this background. It has, you'll see here, like there's, for example, a score variable, and then there's the main menu container. So the main menu container, you'll see here, will contain like the play button, will contain options, a quit, and a slider. And if we open these up, you'll notice here that play has a button, but then it also, so it's a button here. And then it says here, well, on click, run the play game function in our code. And this also has some text, like it says enter the vibe zone. This is the font, Roboto, which looks nice. And you could adjust all sorts of stuff here. So very similar to sort of any web development. I'm just going to show you the menu script. So like I'm just going to click on this. And you'll see like when you click the game here, it's going to say, well, the scene manager needs to load a scene and then go to the next scene. So this is what this is saying, like load the next scene after the currently active scene. And so if you go here to the build and run, you'll notice that we fed our build system. Oh, I didn't actually want this to build though. This is fine. I mean, like, yeah, so you're gonna see like what happens, I guess, once it's built. It's gonna do the exact same thing, like the vibe level. You get the nice like Unity header, and then if you quit, it should go out. So going back here, like if you go to build settings, you'll notice that there's two scenes in the build. There's the menu and then there's the game. So the game is the video and the menu is what I'm just showing you right now. But let's look at other buttons. Like let's say you go, like we said, we have the main menu and then we have options here. Options, I didn't add any logic to, but you could imagine you would have like another scene with another menu similar to this where you could do all sorts of stuff. And then to the quit, like it's calling a function called menu.quitGame. So like if we go to the menu code, like let's take a look at how this works, and then we're just calling a function called application.quit. So nothing crazy going on, but if you want to sort of hook up elements of the UI in a sort of reactive way, like what you could do is like we can take a look at how score works. So score here comes in, and it's just like it's just a text body of text here with this font, and then it has a script attached to it called display score. So if we look at display score, well, let's just see how this works. Initially, it gets initialized to a score of 0. And then at the first iteration, what we're going to do is we're going to get a reference to the text of the score. And then we're going to set the text to score plus current score. So we're going to say the score is equal to 0. And then at every iteration, the only thing we're going to do is that we're going to change, we're going to update the value of the score by 1. And then we're going to set the text to this new value. And so basically at every frame, we're going to update the value of this text, and then it's going to keep iterating. And that's pretty much it. Like, you know, like with these ideas in mind, like just attaching scripts to various UI components, you can build any sort of UI you want in Unity to do any sort of stuff. You can trigger sounds, you can trigger stuff. And the main advantage of this is as opposed to having this very simplified UI where you're writing JavaScript and you're writing CSS, you can instead have the full power of a game engine. And so I would highly encourage you, if you're making any sort of UI, whether it's a web UI or a desktop UI, I would highly recommend Unity for these purposes. So yeah, so I'm glad you enjoyed this. That's pretty much it. I wanted to do a super short stream today. So if you have any other ideas for anything else, just let me know in the comment section below. Thanks, everyone.